Winston, I got a problem.
What's that?
I'm literally gonna bleed out of my sunburn. Look at this color difference, guys. It's probably gross. You don't see this, but
yeah, his name's Bernie now.
I'm Bernie Sanders.
Yes, that's him, Bernie Sanders.
What the hell are you doing, you douche?
Yeah, so weird. Sea Milk.
Yeah.
Do you remember, like, when you were growing up?
Ah, shit!
What?
Bee in my eye. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Do you remember when you were growing up, down the road, that family of illegal Japanese immigrants?
Yeah, dude.
And
oh,
you know,
man.
And how they used to bring. Yeah, and they used to bring their family in illegally and escape Japan to come to your neighborhood. You remember that?
Yeah, they had a really, really devastating tale. Actually, that never happened. I've never met an illegal Japanese immigrant.
Yeah. We're talking about the phenomenon of Chinese people illegally and legally, both, because of course there are tons of legal people, but finding their way into other countries all over the world.
And the current phenomenon of the Chinese brain drain.
Yes, so we got a Chinese brain drain, but we also have this very weird situation where Chinese people are incredibly nationalist, but at the same time are all trying to escape China.
Right. Gee willikers, why?
It's so strange.
Tell us why.
It's weird. I'm trying to figure it out. That's what this is all about.
Okay.
And, you know, you don't see the same phenomenon with, like, South Koreans, for instance, or Japanese people. Of course, we all know that's because those are developed nations and China's a developing country.
Sure,
okay?
Sure.
But
it's also wealthy people leaving.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and the thing is, we know lots of people, a lot of our subscribers, you know, they get married to a Chinese woman and she moves to America or to Australia or whatever, but then next minute she's got her entire extended family over there. You know, they find ways of getting them in there illegally. And sometimes legally. Now, I've got nothing wrong with people finding a better life. That's me, right? Look at me. I live in China because I am, like, an immigrant. I'm illegal. It's actually, you know, it's wrong to say immigrant because China's not an immigrant country. I'm basically just
you don't have an immigrant visa.
No, I have a
people say that
visa.
We are not immigrants because we can't get an immigrant visa. They don't exist.
And I can never naturalize. So basically, all I am is I'm a visitor in China. But you could say I'm an opportune, like a economic migrant, basically.
There you go.
You know, so
no, because you're not a migrant.
Okay, so I'm an economic visitor or whatever you want to call it. But the thing is, like, I'm not even working there because I'm not allowed to. So it's not even about that.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that I cannot criticize people for looking for a better life because I myself am doing the exact same thing.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
But I wanted us to talk about it because it is a very strange phenomenon where you have Chinese people who are waxing lyrical about China all the time, but as soon as they get an opportunity to get out, they get out.
Right.
And why do you think that is?
Well, the first, you know, do you want to look at now or historically?
We could talk about historically.
So in the past, obviously there was a lot of strife and a lot of poverty, right? So people left to find better jobs, and I would say I'm going to go fairly modern. Even up and through the 90s, most of the migrants were coming from Fujian into America, and what they would do is stow away on fishing boats. It's so recent that I actually know some people in Chinese restaurants in upstate New York that did that very thing.
Yeah.
And basically when they got over, they were starving. I wouldn't say starving, but they're very, very poor. They knew their life sucked. They didn't want to be fishermen or farmers anymore or whatever. So they come over, and once they get one person in, then the family visas start. And then grandpa comes over, grandma comes over, and then you got the kids. All of a sudden you find out they have kids too, and they come over. And they start a restaurant, they do whatever, right? And they move to Chinatown, they live the American dream as a Chinese person cooking
Which is
lo
awesome.
mein.
That's freaking awesome.
Right. Now,
I got a bug in my helmet.
And doesn't that suck?
Yeah, anyway, continue.
Now the very different example is the Chinese person that is very wealthy and well educated, and they feel like something is holding them back. So in China, they either can't express themselves or their potential and opportunities are under threat. So they know that in China, and I hate to say this, but if you have money or you have something like a business, it could all go away tomorrow. China's had a very unstable history with that kind of stuff, right? Like, it's not a reliable place to have a reliable life. So when you have the means, you leave, right? So they'll get economic investment visas, then they bring their families over, and everyone kind of moves over, right? It's rinse and repeat, and that's kind of the reasons that have brought Chinese people over. What I find interesting is that you don't have that same phenomenon in other countries, like you said.
Yeah. Another big part of that whole diaspora is, of course, the students. You know, for the longest time, of course, it's not as much these days, but usually if you've got a rich family, they will send their children to America or Australia or, you know, the UK, London or something to study. And the reason being that if you were to come back to China afterwards with a degree from a prestigious university, then you'd get a better job. You know, simple, you higher paying job. But also they use them as an investment vehicle. This happens a lot, that the students get sent over and the parents use them to buy property. They call them parachute kids, because they get just dropped off. You know, they don't go with their parents or anything. They end up just, I did a thing about it when I was in America. But yeah, they basically drive up the housing prices in Canada and America in certain areas. Everyone gets really pissed off with them because they go there and they buy property on their family's behalf, and no one lives in the property. It's just like an investment, you know. Sure. And then that's another reason they do it, is because, like in China, you can't buy property. You can lease it for 70 years. Yeah, and then the government takes it. All land and all property belongs to the government in China. So yeah, investment is another reason for it. And we got a really cool subscriber, remember, in Quest for the Best. He's like an investment, like, what would you call him? He's like one of those angels or whatever they're called.
Yeah,
he
like, basically gives money to startups, Chinese startups in America. Yeah,
and it's freaking awesome. Like, he helped that barbecue restaurant get off the ground.
I love what he does.
Yeah. And so, you know, smart people that want to grow their wealth and actually, you know,
want to do it in China.
Yeah, it's difficult. There is also another group, and those are the corrupt officials.
Yes, yes.
You know, China has this thing where if you're in the government, you know, you pretty much can say everyone is corrupt. Everyone's on the take, and if you're not on the take, then they'll get rid of you because you could potentially expose them.
You're a snitch, right? Potential snitch.
So everyone's on the take to some degree, you know, but if someone like pisses off the wrong leadership guy, then they're going to be targeted for, you know, they'll expose them as a corrupt official and expose his bribes, and then he has to go to jail and he loses all his money and his power. So usually when they've accrued enough wealth, they're like, you know what, I'm wealthy now, I better do something with this. And so they send their families over, and then they smuggle the they
check
end up
GPS.
Oh yeah, I better check the GPS. I'm going to pull over here. 真不错，谢谢。 Cool. How much did I get? Two liters or something, dude. It's like half a tank. 107.
On this road?
On this road, yeah.
Okay, I guess we're okay.
Yeah, I could
Guys,
probably...
we have a long ways to go.
Yeah, I mean, we started fairly early. I mean...
Yeah, we did.
But we've been on the road for most of the day. It's already the afternoon. Probably about 2 or 3. But we actually ran out of space on the GoPros and stuff, so we had to stop and copy and do things.
It's kind of a waste of time, but it's gorgeous out here. Look at that.
So nice.
You see all those little white things?
Yeah.
Those are little pieces of paper that cover up all the peaches and pears so that they don't get damaged by the weather.
And probably insects too?
And insects as well.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. That's lovely riding through here. Anyway, sorry, we were continuing on talking about the kinds of people and that leave China and why they escape.
Right.
So we were talking about government officials. So when they start to feel like they've maybe pushed their luck a bit too far, so they've accrued millions of RMB or billions or whatever it is through shady bribes and things like that, they get it out, usually through family, and they call them satellite families.
Right.
So, you know, like every big politician, including the great fearless leader himself, has family overseas.
Right.
So they invest in property and things, and they'll end up sending money.
It's funny, it shows you how little faith even the people in the government have in their own system.
Yeah, of course. They basically just end up sending money through dodgy means, you know, like
Right.
I've been asked, right, when
do it?
I was going to go to, where was I going to go? I think it was, man, I had to travel, whatever. I had to travel to, it wasn't to America. Oh, you know what? It was when I came here the second time from South Africa to China. I was actually asked by some rich Taiwanese businessmen actually to take money, because that's what they do, is they'll just get friends to like take the maximum amount. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they said, hey, look, you know, can you take whatever 50,000 whatever it was rands or something, because that's the maximum, and we'll give you like 2,000 to do it, type thing. So they do that. They do things like that. They get the money out through whatever means necessary, you know.
Right.
And they get them out to family, and yeah, that's the next category of people. It's like these corrupt government officials. They get all their money out that way, and then it can never really be recovered.
No.
You know. Well, there have been a couple of successful cases where, you know, the governments kind of work together with, say, American authorities, and they seize the assets of those people in America, etc., that they bought, like all these mansions and stuff. But yeah, what other kind of people are fleeing, and why?
I think that's about it, isn't it?
Well, I guess so. I mean,
I know one more.
Yeah.
Intellectuals.
Intellectuals. Oh yeah, that's true.
They've been, intellectuals and professors and things like that have been kind of okay for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
Obviously you can't speak out against the government or anything, but, you know, teaching certain ideals. Right now very much under threat and very critical of the current leadership. They feel like it's not a conducive environment for education.
Yeah.
And freedom of speech and thought, right?
Correct.
Because a certain person's thought reigns supreme.
Yeah, you know, you can also lump in like religious people there as well.
Yeah, that's a big one. You know what's crazy? The other day, I won't mention what group it was, but there was about here. I was driving by Taichung in a park. Yeah. And there was about, I would say, 500 people. It was almost eerie. I got like chills just because it was weird. Yeah. Sitting in silence with a picture of someone that had been a victim of this thing, right? Yeah. With a candle in front of them. It was crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. But those kind of people leave because a lot of those were mainlanders, of course. Yeah. They leave and flee to other places because they don't have the freedom to practice what they believe.
Yeah, so those are the kind of people that are running away. And the whole point of this whole thing is that I wanted us to just shed some light on it, you know, why you find Chinese people in every corner of the world. Yeah. Because even in South Africa, which, you know, is not the best of countries, it's a dangerous place. Like, you know, why would, you know, you find huge Chinese communities, and that's because they do make money there, you know, they trade there, they sell a lot of things into the African townships and stuff. Sure. And they make tons of cash doing that, but, you know, you find lots of Chinese people there. So it's not just places like America, and, you know, sort of first world developed countries that they go everywhere. Right. So those are some of the reasons. Anyway, anything you'd like to tell our subscribers before we sign off? Whether you like to stay at home in your own country or flee because you're a corrupt official with lots of money that you don't trust in your own nation. Yep. We hope that you enjoyed the video. We hope that you understand your Chinese brethren in your own nation. Maybe a little bit more about their story and where they came from. Yeah. And we hope that you can go downstairs and leave in the comments today. Today's comment question of the day is, why is this asshole beeping at me? I don't know, but oh, thanks. Today's comment question of the day is to go downstairs and tell us about the Chinese people that you know. Yeah. Where did they come from and how did they get to your nation? Yeah. Maybe there's some interesting stories there. And if you haven't subscribed, please do that if you haven't already. Yeah. And I would like to make it clear that I'm not one of those guys who's against, immigration, people immigrating and stuff.
We understand the reasons,
right? I'm
all
for it, you know. Right. Legally, of course. I do think illegally immigrating to places is taking the mickey, you know. Unless you're... It really kind of
unless you're like
me.
a North Korean or something.
Yeah, that's different if you're fleeing, whatever. But yeah, let's not get into that whole thing. Right. Yeah. So, you know, whether you are like me, fleeing your home country because of lack of opportunity and discrimination and all that, or if you're just somebody who's going somewhere different for an adventure or whatever, we love you all the same. And until next time, you know the drill. As always, stay awesome. Whoa. Okay. Yep.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for watching ADV China. You can catch a new episode every single Monday at 1 p.m. EST. Up in the top right corner, you can watch another Law86 video, which comes out every Wednesday at 1 p.m. EST. And down below the Law86 video, you can watch Winston at Serpent ZA every single Friday at 1 p.m. EST. Thanks.